Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Rohit. Today we'll talk about an interesting topic called GRC. So GRC is the governance, risk and compliance. This is a little bit conceptual topic. Apart from that implementation, we'll definitely go by implementation. But before that, it is a very conceptual topic. So G stands for governance, R stands for risk, and C stands for compliance. So what is the GRC? Governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC, provide organizations the confidence and the tools they need to operate their business without overstepping regulatory bonds. So if you see here in the ServiceNow images, what it is saying that this is the governance and oversights. And if you see, it's divided into two parts. One is the security operation, another is the GRC. And these governance oversight is managed through the dashboard reporting and analysis. We'll understand a little bit in deep. So if you see here, the governance. So what is the governance? The framework of an organization activities and whether or not they are aligned with the business objectives. Activities includes the processes, structure, and policies are meant to manage and monitor that. What is risk? A sustained process of addressing risk, mitigating risk through controls, and providing assurance that the risks are managed according to the policies. This includes the measurement of a risk, assessment, retentions, monitoring, and identification. What is the compliance? Ensuring that activities within an organization operate in way that are aligned with laws and regulation. So if you see, think about, I am running a IT training. So my business is a IT training business. My business is maybe my business is a related to the IT training. And here is the example for my case. So I am in each batch. I am 100 student. I am doing to administer. So each batch I am doing 100 student, and then rule number one, what I am saying that daily 1 hour practice is the in the simulator. So I am putting them the rule that daily you have to take a practice on that simulator. If 5 students are not taking regularly, that's a risk for me. So that's a risk for me, and then we'll monitor that and enforce them to take the simulator. So yeah, I just call them the 5 students that why you are not taking. You should have take the. I'm enforcing them to take that simulator. And once this all process we are doing governance, and then once they are taking the simulator again, that they are becoming a compliance. Okay. So as I mentioned, the GRC is divided into the multiple application, the policy and compliance, risk management, audit management, vendor risk management. So these are the four parts that GRC is divided. So how GRC works? If you see in this image is beautifully designed and shows that how the GRC works. Very first thing is the UCA repository. This is the starting point of this image. So you see a repository. From that, it's import the authority document. So what is the UCA repository? We'll talk about. But you see a repository. Think about it's an external application. From there, we'll import the authority document, and from the authority document, it will automatically import the citation and policy statement. So these three things are automatically will be import from the UCA if you already import. Otherwise, you can manually create the authority document, citation, and the policy statement also. Okay. So this policy statement, profile type, profile and profile class are little bit renamed. Policy statement is right now renamed as a control objectives. Profile class renamed with the entity class. Profile type is renamed with the entity type, and then profile renamed with the entity. So this all profile will change to the entities, and the policy statement renamed as a control objectives. So what is the UCF? So UCF is nothing but it's a repository where, or it's a you can say website where all the compliance documents are stored. So when So as I said, I am running a business called IT training, and this IT training I have to regulate the IT ISO certified. I maybe have to be ISO certified. For that, I have to be maintain the ISO 2001 regulatory, right? So these all the document are actually the related IT related document are stored into the UCF repository. So if you come here, what it is saying that the what is UCF? UCF is a unified compliance framework, is the world's largest library database of interconnected compliance document and the world's only commercial available common control framework. So it is a compliance document database which is interrelated with each other, and then this unified compliance framework contains 1,000 mapped authority document, and then uh, lakhs plus individual mandates, 10,000 plus common control, and 2.5 lakhs interconnected words phrases in the dictionary. So that's all about UCF. UCF, you can think about it a repository which is holding all the document of authority document. Now going back to that, how the UCF, this is command control website if you see here, and this is how looks like the command control, and here all the documents are available. So if you go back to the home, normally it have that authority document, and that authority document will be, I mean, all the authority list of authority documents you will be able to see. Right now I don't have any authority documents here, and these authority document will be worldwide available. You can import in your ServiceNow, because Common Control Hub is a, I mean, this UCF ServiceNow is a UCF partner, so all these document can be imported into the ServiceNow. Okay. So this document will be this UCF document will be imported into ServiceNow and in a authority document, and then this authority document will have many citations. What is the authority document? Authority document is nothing but a, it's like a ISO. As I mentioned that to run the IT training, I have to be maintained, or I have to do the ISO certified 200 IT ISO certificate 2001. That is a authority document, and this EIT or authority document have a many citations. Citation means that the breakdown of this authority document. So what I have to do that in this running the IT business, I have to be create a GST, I have to be maintain the student book list, I have to maintain the student registration process, student attendance, everything I have to maintain. These all are we call the citation. Okay, we'll discuss further, but I'll just give you the high level. And then this, from the citation we have a policy and policy statement, or control, maybe policy statement are renamed as a control object. So what is the policy? Policy is that maybe these all are ISO certificate which have a 100 rules, but for my organization it is only applicable for 10 rules. Those 10 rules are the my policy or my rules, and then 10 rules have a breakdown. So let's take an example of one of the policy called dress code. The policy name is the dress code, and the policy have a control objective or policy statement that Monday to Friday you have to wear the formal dress. That is the one policy statement or one control object. Second control or second policy statement will be that you have to wear the jeans. So that could be another dress codes related policy statement. Third, Saturday and Sunday you can wear the t-shirt. So that could be another policy statement. So a policy have a policy statement. Similarly, one policy statement can be related with other policy. So let's take another example that, as I mentioned, that Saturday, Sunday you can wear the t-shirt. So if we have a policy called Saturday, Sunday or weekends policy, that can be also relate with this policy, and also it can be relate with another policy called dress code. So policy statement can be attached to multiple policy, and policy can have multiple policy statement also. It's a vice versa M2M relationship. We'll discuss this further, but let's take example that what are the plugins we need to be installed for GRC. The first plugin we need to be installed that policy and compliance management. Second is the compliance UCF. So this is optional. If you want to integrate with your UCF, then you can install this one. Then these are the advanced risk management, audit management dependency, and or advanced dashboard. I cannot install the vendor risk management because it's a stored application, so I cannot show demo on your out of box the demo instance. So that's it for today. That how the GRC looks like or what the GRC all about. We'll talk further in the next session. We'll show some demo and we'll install some plugin and we'll work on that. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit. So this is the episode 2 of the GRC. So last day we talked about that what is the GRC and what are the things we can do for the GRC and how the GRC works. We discussed all these points last day. Today we'll talk about basically we'll activate the plugins and then we'll talk about the what are the roles is required and then I'll show you that what are the modules right now is installed during this plugin install. So I will install this in the Cubic release and then pretty much it will be if you go for the higher environment it will be the same. There will be very minimal changes on this module. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get started. To install the plugins, very first is then the left navigation. We have to type the plugins, and then in the plugins, you have to be you have to click on the plugins module. It will take some time because this module loading this module will take some time. But after that, you will be able to find that that module and you will be able to install that. So if I go back to the documentation, we need to be install the policy and compliance management plugins right now, and let's see how I am doing how I am installing that. In case if you need this document, this PPT, you can visit my website called Snow Expert Rohit. You can go and then here we have created a newly created sections called documentation. Here HRSD documents are available, GRC documents also available. You can go and then you can access this document. It is publicly available. You can start accessing these documents. You can check like that and then all the documents will be shown here. All these images and everything will be shown here, and you can open in the full screen and then see this documentation. Okay, so let's start to activating the plugins. So first we'll install the plugins called policy and compliance. So if I type the policy, so very first thing is that you can see that we have a module called GRC policy and compliance. We need to be install this module, and if I click here, there are a couple of dependent module will be installed during this process. So the policy compliance management dependency will be also be installed. I just have to simply click the load demo data. Load demo data will help me to install a couple of demo data so that I can give you the example that how it will be looks like that. Uh, uh, that's the process. Okay, in production environment you don't need to install the load demo data. For non-prod environment, if you want to know that how the data is structured, you can click the load demo data to install. Before I install that, I just want to show you that here we have the options for if I type the GRC, nothing is available at that moment. See that if I even type the policy, and you can see that I am not able to see anything about policy and compliance. So after installing this plugin, this module will be available in your left side and you will be able to work on that. Okay, so let's install this plugin. I'll click the load demo data and install, and it will be start installing the plugin in my system. So now you can see that my plugins got installed here successfully, and if I close and refresh, and here let me refresh the complete application, and I probably should be able to see that the module in the left side. And if you see, I am able to see that policy and compliance module successfully, because this module I just have installed here. So this module is successfully installed here. Let's see what are the roles is installed at that moment. So if I go back to the sys user role here, if you open this sys user role table, and then here if we search with the SN compliance, so here in this role I will search the role name. So as per our documentation, if you see that SN compliance is the role name which is going to start for the compliance and policy and compliance. So if I search with this SN, and couple of roles actually got installed here, you can see that the compliance admin, compliance attestation creator, developer, a manager, reader, and user. So basically, this role I have defined here. So compliance reader, this is the minimal role required for to satisfy any of these. Run through this GRC. The a user is a compliance user manager who actually create the policy and maybe edit the policy, developer who can create the articles and then templates, attestation creator who can create the attestation nothing but a survey, we'll discuss that further, and the compliance admin who have the access to the delete, edit, and everything, so he is the higher privilege of that. So basically if you see this here in the document, um, the cycle is like the reader is the minimal role, user is the user, GRC user, manager is the then the more powerful who can create the policy and edit, and then admin is the most powerful. Developer should be in between this manager and admin. So this way we can say that these are the role is required. Now I'll show you the overview that after installing these plugins, so what are the things we can see. So if I search with the policy, and here you can see there are many modules is actually installed. So very first thing is the policy exceptions installed here. If you see here, this is the policy exception, this is the entity class, entity type, all entity, this is the control, this is the issues, the indicator, remediation task. So these are the things actually installed. And in policy you can see in this policy there will be all the policies. So if I click here policies, all the policy also you will be able to see these are the policy is created. And we discuss definitely we will discuss that further. The authority document, we talk about the authority document, we talk about the citation. These all are actually installed because we check that load demo data. So when you check the load demo data, some of the couple of demo data will be installed in your system to check that how their relationship will be like now. Okay, so this is the authority document, and this is the citation, and then we have a policies, and then we have a policy exception. So these are the module installed. During this course, I am going to design a diagram for you. So how the data is coming. So far we discussed about what is the UCF, right? And from where this data is coming. So that's it for today. In next session, we'll talk about that authority document. We'll talk about the UCF citation further, and we will design a diagram. And through the diagram, we'll understand that how they are interrelated with each other, because this is a little bit complex situation and complex relationship between them. So we'll understand through the diagram module. Till the time, like, share, and subscribe my channel, and share with your community. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Rohit. This is the episode 3 of the GRC series. In this series, we'll talk about the authority document, we'll talk about the citation, we'll talk about the control objectives, and even I'll design a diagram and I'll show you that how they are related with each other, because their relationship is a very complex, and in further when we create the control, we'll create the indicator, attestation, there will be more complexity will be arise. So I thought that I will create a diagram and I'll show you that how they are related with each other. So in this diagram, okay. So without wasting time, let's get started. How what is the authority document and what are the things we can cover in this episode? Okay, so let's get started. This is the Visio me I'm using, where I am going to design that complete diagram. I'll simply click the edit and I'll start edit that Visio, and in the future class also or future sessions also I'll keep editing that one. So very first thing is that our case is the let's say start document, and here we'll say that this is the our UCF document, or something called UCF, where the where actually our all the documents stored, and this is the third party document, we know that, okay. And as I mentioned that from the UCF, we are going to able to import the authority document and then citation. So let's do that. I'll import that authority document from there. So this is my authority document. So authority document, so this document will be imported from where? This document will be imported from the UCF. So let's draw a line. So this line is going to be indicate that where this is going to be denote. Okay. So from the UCF, it is actually import the data. It's import the data, right? So let's put that one also. I'll put that import here. So this data will be import. Some organization, they don't import that, they create their own stuff. That's also fine. We don't I mean, there is no issues on that. Now this authority document, and along with that we said that there will be one more thing is that called citation. So let's put that here. Authority document and then citation will be there. Okay, so first let's add this in a using the arrow. So let's reduce this and add between that authority document and then citation. Okay, so very first thing, UCF is a repository, or you can say that hub, where we have using that integration, we import that and it will be go for the authority document, and then from the authority document it will be create the citation. Okay, so let's see that how it is showing right now in our system, and then we'll further discuss. So here if I go back and then first open the authority document, so I'll type that authority document. You can see under the compliance you have a authority documents, and these are the authority documents are actually created from, let's assume that from the UCF. Okay, I'm not saying that how it is created, but it is created. Okay, and we take example of the, this is the one of the authority document. If I take this authority document, that this is the information technology authority document, and this authority document is imported from one of this website, and you can see that the source is the UCF, means that this document is imported from the UCF repository, and then there are category, type, source, ID, version, and then compliance score is 85%, and the description is there. And inside this authority document we have a citation, right? So these are the citations. So breakdown of the authority document, there could be, this is the high level of the document, and then each document have a little bit breakdown for the citation. If I go back here, so UCF import that authority document, from the authority document we have a citation, and this is the breakdown of the citation. Okay, and if I open this citation, one of the citation, let's say if I open this one of the citation, we'll understand better understand. So this is the citation. Each citation can have, parent citation also, there is no issues, and citations also have a source reference, source ID, everything is there, because they are tightly mapped with each other. And here also we have a compliance score. So compliance score means that the top, each and every record we have a compliance code, and how many compliance, how much percentage compliance we are, that will denoted here. Okay, so after import that authority document and the citation, there could be one more thing that can be also import. We call the control objective. Okay, so let's suppose that name is control objective. So this is my control objectives, and this control objective I'll show you in that document here. This control objective will be added here. I'll add here little bit in this position. Okay, I'll say you the reason, and then add a draw line, and then attach here to our control objective, and then add here. Okay, why I added this I will tell you later, but at that moment I am going to attach here the UCF document is my UCF document, the repository. From here authority document will be imported, and then from the authority document citation will be imported, and from the citation it will be import the control objective. Why I mark as a yellow color? Control objective can be import or can be created manually, so that depends on the organization, but it is depending on the situation that how they want. So first let's understand that how the control objective look like that. So if I type the control objective here, you will be able to see that under the policy and procedure you will be able to see the control objective, and this is the control objectives table. Here all the control objectives is there, almost 1100 control objective is there. If I classify by group by classification, so there are four five types of control objectives you can see. So four types of control objectives. So let's open one of these control objectives and understand that what are the fields are there. In the control objectives, very first thing is the name. And the name is saying that correct all found deficiency according to the organization standard after the web application policy compliance review. The source is the UCF, source ID reference, the parent, and then the percentage compliance scores percentage is there, and there are a couple of other fields also there. Okay, so it means that these control objectives will be created from the UCF. So it means that that is the reason I mark as a yellow. Sometimes it can be created manually, so in that case these two normally we don't create manually, so it's a I created that this color. Okay, so this is the control objective. Control objective nothing but a breakdown of that, and if you see under the control objective you have a citation, and the citation, and then authority document. So citation, as I mentioned, that the breakdown of the authority document, and one control objective can be part of multiple citation. It's not like that one-to-one mapping. So this control objective map to the this citation is mapped to the control objective, and it can be mapped to the another citation. So let's copy that here and then paste here. I'll add here. So this is the another citation which can be also imported directly, right? So we put the draw line. So there is a citation, and this citation can be citation 1, and this is the citation 2. These two citation can be point to the same control objective, and it can be probably it will be depending on the situation right now. Okay, so one citation can have one citation can have multiple control objective, and the multiple control objective have a multiple citation also. It's a many-to-many mapping. Okay, so now understand in a document where that what is the authority document. So authority document manage a process, and citations are created within them to manage point-to-point process. As I mentioned, that authority document is nothing but it's a connection between a point-to-point citation and authority document. Authority document is a high level of the any of this rule. Okay, so let's say ISO 27001 example as the ISO 27701, that is the authority document, and it has several rules inside that. Okay, so that is called citation. So let's understand what is the citation. Usually authority document, citation and control objective are downloaded from a third party provider. As I mentioned that in our diagram, they are coming from your UCF repository, that authority document, citation, control objective. However, citation can be created manually from your authority document. So from the authority document, we can create the citation manually, uh, and the active option in a citation indicate whether the citation is active or inactive. So citation have a active and inactive button, so that denote that it's a active or inactive. Authority document holds the multiple citation. So one authority document have a multiple citations, and roles required for that is the SN compliance admin or SN compliance manager. So these are the role required for creating a citation. Person working for an organization shall be aware of how they contribute to the information security management system effectiveness and the benefits of improved information security performance. So that is the example of the citation I have mentioned here. So authority document coming from the UCF, it's a automatic citation also coming from the UCF or automatic. Now we'll talk about the control objective. A control objective is an objective directions or standard that acts as a guidelines for a company interaction and operation. So as I mentioned that whenever in a first day, whenever we are running a big organization, there will be many rules, and the our case it will be only apply for few rules, right? So if I first day I mentioned that in the top here, GRC sample, a simple example. This is my, I am running the IT training, and then ISO is the authority document. And in this ISO 2001, I have a citation. I mean, for 100 student, I have a citation. I'm going to implement multiple citation, and I have the five citations or 100,000 citation. In between the five is applicable. So those five is nothing but a control objective. Okay. So going back to the control objective, a policy hold multiple control objective. Control objective hold multiple policy. It's a M2M relationship. As I mentioned that similarly in my diagram, that a policy, we'll talk about the further in the policy, but policy can hold multiple control objective. Control objective can hold multiple policy. It's M2M relationship. From the control objective, it will create the control. From the control objective, we can create the control. We'll discuss that further. Okay. Control objective, as I mentioned, control objective, if you see my diagram, control objective is a YOLO mark. It means that it can be created manually or can be created from or can be imported from the UCF document. Okay, so let's see first in this our ServiceNow instance that in the control objective how we can create that manually, because I already show you that how it will be looks like in how it will be imported from the UCF. In here in this left navigation, if I type the citation, and inside the citation you can see that all this control objective. So if I open one of this citation, there could be control objective or there could not be, depending on the situation. So let's open this one of this citation here. So if you see this in this citation is coming from one of the authority document, and this citation have a control objective in the related list. And if I open this control objective here from this related list, so you can see that most of the fields like name, description, these parent, source ID, reference, everything is most of the things are read only, because these control objectives are imported from the UCF document, and that's the reason most of the fields are read only. If you create you by yourself, actually you can create ourselves. We can create that by ourselves. We'll do that. In case if you see, there are a couple of things is editable. One is the create control automatically. How we can create the control from the control objective. I will discuss that. Attestation and issue group rule. These are the very minor fields are not editable. Okay, so that's nothing. If you go back to the control citation in the related list, you have two citations. As I mentioned, that control objective is a many to many relationship. Like here, it's a many to many relationship, so there is nothing wrong here. And definitely this citation compliance score is 0 because this is the dummy data and it's have a compliance score is 0. Coming back to the creation of control objective manually, as I mentioned that here it's in yellow mark so that we can create that control objective manually also, or we can create the citation manually also, because if you see citation new button is available. Similarly, if I go back to the citations here, because if I go back to the citation, I should be also see one new button on the control objective here. Okay, so you can manually add any existing control objective, or else you can create manually control objective. So let's create one control objective here. So as I put here, I'll put that test control objective and copy that, and here we'll put the description. You have a category, you can define that based on your actually fulfillment, or based on your criteria you can classify that, and then you can put the type also. These are, I mean, the data driven for the reporting purpose. Control objective can be one, I mean, can be attached to the parent control objective. It means that one control objective can have child control objective also. Okay, source and source ID is read only, because it will be populated if you are importing from the integration or somewhere else like USIF document. So once we save that, you can see under the citation is showing in the related list. If I open the citation right now, one I created, basically this is the one I created actually. Okay, this is the one I just created. Okay, so that how you can attach to the, I mean, you can attach citation to the control objective, or you can create the control objective manually. Similarly for the citation also. So that's it for today. We discuss about control objective, we discuss about authority document and citation. In our next session, we'll talk about that, policy, we'll talk about the control, and we'll discuss further. Till the time, like, share and subscribe, and share with your community with this video. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit. Today we'll talk about the policy in the GRC module. So this is the fourth day we are talking about the GRC sessions. And this fourth day we'll talk about the policy, and we'll do a little diagramming, and then we'll show you that where the policy can be placed, and we'll discuss further on that policy. Okay. If you want this document, that PPT, you can visit my website called snowexpert.rohit.com, and then here you can see the services. Under the services, you have a documentation. Under the documentation, you have a governance, risk and compliance tab, where you can get the complete PPT from there also. So today we'll mostly focus on the GRC policy, GRC policy in this through this diagram also, and we'll create our own policy and understand one by one. So without wasting time, let's get started. So very first thing is what is the policy. If you see the documentation here, what it is saying, that a policy defines the internal practices that process must be followed. So as I mentioned that there could be thousands of compliance, and in this thousand of compliance, you might be following the 5 compliance, right? That 5 compliance is a policy for you. Okay, there could be 100 of citation. In these citations, or 100 of control objective. Okay, but in between that, you have a particular rules and regulation that follow in your company, that we call the policy. If you see here, what else we are talking about, that policy are defined as a policy, procedure, standard, plan, checklist, framework, and templates. So policy is something that has to be followed by that organization member, but citation is something that is in a high level, but all within the citation, 1,000 citation, 5 or 10 policy we are going to apply in our system. That is, we call the policy. Okay, creating the policy is required that SN compliance admin or SN compliance manager role. Policy have a different kind of state, and each state have a different process. So we have a draft state, review state, awaiting approval, publish, and retire. So these are the state we have in a policy. Reviewer is most important factor, who needs to be review the policy and control objects. Before move to the review in the policy, control object needs to be attached. So we'll break down one by one. So what it is saying, that reviewer is a most important part in the policy and control objective, because who is going to be review? Somebody have to be approved that review, and that is very important. Where before you are moving that review state from draft state to the review state, whenever you are moving in this time, you need to be attach the control objectives to the policy. So let's understand here in the diagram. So till the point the authority document was created, citation was created from the user, and this control objective either can be created manually or it can be created from the UCF document. Now the policy will be created manually. So let me add that. So last day we designed this diagram, and I hope you guys pretty much aware of this one. If you don't know, please watch my previous video. Now if you see our documentation, what it is saying, that before moving to the review in policy, control objective needs to be attached. So this is our control objective, and this control objective will be attached with the policy, and that will be in our actually the before it is moved to the review state. Okay, so let's first see what is the policy. So if you type the policy here, as you know that we are actually running on the policy and compliance, so mostly all of the module will be visible. Under this policy and procedure, you can see the policies, and these policy are the existing policy. We are going to create a new policy for today, but for the demonstration purpose, I am going to show you that how the policy will be looks like that. So this is the policy you can see, and if I open the policy, as I mentioned in the document here, the policy can be procedure, policy, standard, plan, checklist, framework, and the template. So we have a type, and this each type it define that which type of policy it is. Okay, so let's say I'll talk about that. I'll create a sample one, but we'll mostly work on the change management policy, out of box policy. But if you see here in this change management policy, what it is saying, that this policy have a different kind of state. The draft state, review state, awaiting for approval, publisher, and retired. This state we discuss about this document also. So in this draft state, you can create and still modifying that, you can keep modifying that. But in the reviewer state, the policy should be attached to you, one of the control objective. Okay, so whenever you are moving to the reviewer state, reviewer will review or maybe approves based on your control objective that you have attached. So control objective will be imported from the UCF, or you can create manually, but the policy will be the policy will have the multiple control objective, and then based on the control objective, the reviewer will approve or the approver will approve. Okay, so let's create one policy. Our case, we are going to create a new policy here. So I'll click here and create a new policy here. So in this policy, you can see we are in the draft state, and as per our documentation, you can see that if you see here in this before I move to the reviewer state, I should attach to a I should attach to a control objective. Okay, so we'll discuss in the further. So very first thing, I'm going to create a policy. So let's say change management GRC demo. So this is my policy. Here the type, so we have to be select that any of this type. As per the documentation, we are saying that type can be policies, procedure, standard, plan, checklist, framework, or the template. Anything can be happen. So we'll say that this is the type is the policy. So differentiate between policy, the type is for that more reporting purpose. Based on the owning group, owner, approver, reviewer, contributor, everything will become. So we are going to select the owning groups, let's say CAB approvals here. So once I select that owning groups, and then let's say you will select that MacMe is the owner, and then I'll select the valid from. So let's say valid, it will be valid from that upcoming date here, and then valid to will be applicable for couple of months. So I will select this one. Okay, approver, I will select the approver equal to this user, that Mac jurisdiction, and then the reviewer, I will select that the same user, for because I don't have much user at that moment. Okay, these are the things I have selected here. The descriptions, we'll select, copy these descriptions and paste here, called description, and I will put that details here. So this text, this plain text will be create based on this, it will create a knowledge article. So if you see here in our case, we have a one tab called knowledge base. Knowledge base is nothing but whenever this policy will be in move to the published state, it will create a knowledge article based on this knowledge template, and then it will create a knowledge article with this policy text. Okay, parent is nothing but if your policy is have more policy, parent policy, you can attach that. So at that moment I'll just save that policy, and it is in draft state, very first stage. Before I now once I select the draft, once I click that and created a draft policy, I am able to see that request reviewer state. In this state, if I click that, the state will be changed to the review. But as per our document, what it is saying that before moving to the review in policy, we need to attach a control objective under this policy. So I'll go here and then I can add any existing one, but for the demo purpose, I'll create a new one. Also, you can see we have a policy history. In this policy history, whenever you make changes or big changes happen, it added here, like the version to the diagramming part. So very first thing is that we'll put this one, and in this case, we will say that this is our policy, and this policy will be in the yellow mark. It means that it will be created manually there, so there is no chance to do anything else. So I'll reduce this size here and connect with here, and then attach here. I'll create one control objective here, so I'll click here in a new button. As per our demo, this is in yellow mark, it can be manually created. So it can be created manually, or it can become from the UCIF document. Okay, so I'll create one control objective called change, request cannot be new state more than 30 days. So this is might be my policy. I'll click the active, and you have options called create controls automatically. We'll understand this later. And then here I'll put more descriptions, like more details in the description. I'll save that. Okay, so now our control objective is created. So this part we have covered in last day, what is the control objective, and the control objective I have created in a new state. Control objective doesn't have any state, but here is the one important factor we have attestation. We have to be create, or we have to attach the attestation. So this is very important. So if I go to that policy right now, the policy is in my draft state, and whatever in the policy, whatever a control objective is attached to that policy, I can still edit until unless in draft state. Once it will move to the reviewer state, I cannot change the control objective. Okay, so in this attestation, I can create a new attestation, or else I can select the existing attestation. In our next sessions, I'll talk about that how we can create the attestation, and for the time being, I'll select the GRC attestation. And this is very important because based on the attestation, it will generate further. So I'll just save that. Okay, and then in this document I will add one more point. So let's add one more point here. So let's add this point. So it will be generated attestation, and this will be add in whenever you created, you can attach to attestation. I'll add one arrow here. So this will generate a attestation, and then control objective is attached to the policy. Now what we'll do, I'll go back to that policy right now, and in this policy what I'll do, I'll move that to that reviewer state. So I'll simply click that request for reviewer. Apart from that, we have a couple of things. One is the acknowledgement steps. So in this acknowledgement steps, the person has to be acknowledged. So monthly maybe I can select, and then first acknowledgement maybe from the day of valid from. So we'll select that valid from is the 610. So I'll select from there. So let's select that 610 here, and number of days I'll select the 3, and within 3 days they have to be acknowledged. And then audience I'll select the change management. We can create our own audience. And then exceptions, I have to be select the exception. So let's say the exception is 2. So in 2 days I am giving the exception. Let's say that what is the exception? Let's say that new joiners are coming, and then your policy is that they have to be wear the formal dress, but for 2 days you can give them exceptions. So that is the exception day. I'll save these details and move to the reviewer state. So I'll simply move that reviewer state here. Clicking the review request reviewer, it will move to that reviewer state. Once you click the request for review, there will be a message pop up where you have to be put some notes. So I'll say that please review and request. Once I click that, the state will be changed from draft to review. As I am the admin, I can still modify, but as a normal user, if they created, they should not have any access here. Now, whatever message I am putting, this will become to the activity sections. You can see that it is on draft state and right now in the review state. So let's first, impersonate the approver and see how they are seeing in this case. For this approver, everything is the blank, and then somehow they are seeing that one bug is there in ServiceNow, that they are seeing the request for approval button. But apart from that, everything is right now in read only. So for the user who created normally, if they don't have any access, they should not also have the same issues. They should not have also access. Let's impersonate the reviewer for the timing and see how the reviewer is looks like that, the policy. Once I impersonate that and see that I have a options called back to draft. But if you remember, if I am the user normal, even the admin cannot see this button called back to draft. It means that you move to the reviewer, means that it is in reviewer state. You cannot move to the draft state. And in the reviewer state, one thing just noted that if you open this control objective, this control objective is right now in read only, because it is in reviewer state and you cannot modify in the reviewer state. In draft state only you can modify that. Okay. So once you move to the reviewer state, you cannot make any changes at that moment. Even control objective and the control both will be read only. I will impersonate the reviewer. This is the reviewer. So I will impersonate that user here and refresh this this policy. And now as a reviewer, I have a options called back to draft. I can send back to the draft state, or else I can move to the request for approval. So what I'll do, I'll review this control objective. So let's review this control objective, whatever they have provided is correct or not, whatever control objective is attached. And you can see in the control objective is right now is editable for me, because I am the reviewer. I can make certain changes. So let's say I'll put the classification and then categories and type. These are the things I was missing. I'll put these details and simply move to the request for approvals. So I'll say that please approve here. And so once I move to that approval state, for me as a reviewer, everything is read only. You can see the policy is read only right now, and it will be generate one approver. So let's see. So policy is read only, approver will be generated, that Mac jurisdiction, and this is the during that during the moving to the approvals, I can also verify that the approver. Now I'll refresh that control objective, and you can see control objective also read only for me. I'll impersonate that Mac jurisdiction right now and try to approve that. So I'll impersonate that user and refresh this policy. So you can see that for Mark jurisdiction, everything is read only. He can only reject or approve And once it will be, and if I go back to the control objective also, this is also read only right now. So as a approver, they can only approve everything is read only. So I'll simply approve that, and once I approve, it will be moved to the published state, and one KB article will be created. So I'll just simply approve. Once the approve, the one KB article is created, and then we can see that it is mentioning that this policy is approved. You can see this is the KB article is created, and let's see how the KB article is looks like that. So I'll open this KB article and click the view article. Once I click the view article, and you can see this KB article is nicely articulated here, that whatever in the requirement, whatever is control objective we have added, all this control objective is attached to this KB article as a requirements. And this is the detailed description that we have put it on that our change management control. Okay, so this is our if I go back to this policy here, in this policy, these are the this is the policy text we have put it, that is incoming, and then the control objective also coming in our knowledge article. Okay, in our you right now the policy is in published state. You can move back to the draft state, but at that moment everything is read only. You can see this control objective also read only. Even if I impersonate as an admin, I'll end the impersonation and refresh that control objective. Even I am the admin, I cannot make any changes on the control objective. Okay, and if I open the policy also, normally if the end user open, they cannot make any modification during the publish state. So that's it about all about that control and then control objective and attestation. So the control objective will become from that UCF, or you can create manually. The policy will be created manually here, and then control objective will be attached through a attestation that will be required in next level. And also remember one thing, that create controls automatically will be checked by default. Based on that, it will be create some control from the control objective. Okay, we'll discuss in this further. That's it for today. For the timing, we'll discuss and design more. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Rohit. This is the fifth session of the GRC. In these sessions, we'll talk about that scoping or entity scoping. So in the GRC, entity or entity scoping is a very important factor. In this entity scoping, we'll understand the four topics. One is the entity class, entity type, entity filter, and entity. And if in case if you want this PPT, you can visit my website called Snow Expert Rohit. From here you can go to the service and then documentation, and there you have a governance, risk, and compliance. From there you can directly access that our PPT. So without wasting time, let's get started the entity scoping and understand that what does it means by the entity scoping. Before I start with the entity scoping, I'll request everyone, please like my channel, share and subscribe my channel. And also, if you have not watched my previous video, please go and watch my previous video, because this is a very interrelated topic. So watch from the beginning to understand what is the entity scoping and how we are doing. Also through the diagram, I'll show you that how they are going to be relate with each other. Okay. So in the entity scoping, we have four components. One is the entity class. Entity class is nothing but kind of a tag which can help you to see in broader scale in the organization level. So if you see the definition, what it is saying, that entity class are used to tag your entities and to provide the complete view of the risk status in your organization. So it will give you the complete view of your organization, what are the risk or the issue status in your complete entire organization. Next is the entity type. Entity types enable you to find and create entity that matches a set of filter condition. So basically, entity type is the type which will actually combine multiple entity to a one single component called entity type. Entity filter is nothing but that actually help you to create entity automatically. Okay, so entity types enable you to find and create entity that matches a set of filter conditions. So using the entity filter, we are going to create the entity automatically. And what is the entity? In GRC, entity can be people, process, department, application, or object whose exposed must be managed. So if you see here in this diagram, entity design, if you see there are multiple entities. One, two, three, and this entity are combined with the entity type. And then in this entity type, which is actually matches to the risk management or the control objectives. And from this control objective, it generate the control. Okay. So let's understand in the service now what is the entity, what is the entity type, and how they are added here. So in the service now, if you type the scoping, uh, you will be able to see one module called entity class, entity type, my entity, all entities, inactive entities, business process. So these are the module are available. So let's open the entity class. And in this entity class, you can see, as I mentioned, that entity class is nothing but a tags. So let's say these are the entity class, and if I open the entity type, so these are the entity type is available right now. So let's open one of these entities. Let's call that entity type is the vendor. So in this entity type vendor, you can see that we have 78 entities. Okay, and in the 78 entities, we have entity filter. Okay, if I open the entity filter, you can see uh, here the entity type filter is defined. Okay, and in this filter condition, what the condition is that it is querying to the core company table and then vendor is true. So based on that filter, it will if you see that the total record is 78, it means that using this filter actually these entity are getting created. Okay, and after that in this assignment you can see we have a entity class which is nothing but a tag, as I mentioned, right? So it's a company. You can see this is a entity class, and in this entity class you have this all these entities also inside this one. So let's create one, our case, let's create one entity type. In this case, entity type needs to be created manually. So I am going to create one entity type called department right now. So I'll put the GRC department and click save that. So entity type will be created manually. As I mentioned that entity type will be created manually and it help you to bundle multiple entities, right? And then in this entity type we have entity filter. So in this entity filter, what we are going to do, we are going to create a filter condition. So in our case, let's say I'll if you see, whenever you click create new, you have a two type of filter type. One is the build your own filter condition, or you can select the pre defined queries, and where you can select the some predefined query which is created earlier. So we'll select that our build your own condition, and here we'll select the department. Okay, once we select the department, it is showing the seven record. It means that the GRC department in a CMN department table, basically we have a seven records, and these entity type will have seven entities. Okay, and then we have a assignment section. In this assignment sections we have a entity class. Okay, which is nothing but if I open this entity class, you can see this is the entity class which is created earlier, so I can use the existing entity class. Now in this default owner, you can select any of these owner name. So if that owner is not exist, what owner should be selected? Okay, And here you have a checkbox called use owner field. Based on that, you can select any of these fields. So let's say department head, I will select that. It means that it will be create seven entry or seven entities, and based on that, it will set some owner, and then their default owner is the able tutor in case it is not find out. Otherwise, it will set the department head as a owner, and then the class or tag will be the department. Okay, so let's submit that. One important things needs to be noted down here, that whenever I am selecting that department equal to CMN department, right? And it will automatically select the entity class, which is the department, because that entity class, in this entity class we also define that table name. And that's the reason whenever I am selecting the table name, that department, automatically the entity class will be selected. The point I am trying to make here, that if you see here in this entity type, I already have a department, and I also created one more department called GRC department right now, right? So you don't need to create multiple entity type for each and every time, for each and every policy. This will be the one-time job. For the demonstration purpose, I created one entity type called GRC entity type. But basically, for one kind of entity type and for similar kind of entity, it will be one entity type. Not like for each and every, I am going to create that entity type. For demonstration purpose only, although the department was there, I have created the GRC department to show you the department. And that's the reason whenever we'll add whenever we'll add the field and it will generate the entities, the compliance or the data will be already exist, that the that will be already exist. I mean, the compliance percentage will be already exist. Now going back to that entity type again, we have created GRC department, right? And this is our filter. And in this filter, we have selected that all these, data. Now, right now, you can see the entity is blank. Once we click that update entire entities from filter, so it will be update, it will be create the entities here based on the filter. So entity type is a type which is hold multiple entities, and the entities will be created automatically based on the entity filter. So let's refresh that. You can see the seven entities are created right now, and they have their own compliance. Okay, so this way we can create the entities. So let's going back to our diagram and design the diagram here. You can see this mark, it means that it will be created manually, and then this is the either manually or it can be by UCF document. So what we'll do here in this diagram now, what we'll do, this is the policy. What I am going to do here, I am going to so understand quickly here. So far, whatever we done, we have divided two part in the left side and the right side. In the left side, we have UCF document. From there, it is imported the authority document, citation, and then control objective, and we created that policy manually, and then attestation here. Now in the right side, what we did then, this is the one-time job called entity class, and then we have entity type, and entity type have entity filter. So entity type will have entity filter, entity filter will have entity class, and which will automatically generate the entity basically based on the entity filter. This will generate automatically. So I'll add the text equal to automatically generate. It is automatically generated here. Okay, so that's it for today. In the next session, we'll talk about that how we can generate the control and how they will be relate with that. So till the time, if you like my video, share, subscribe, and let me know if you have any doubt in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is the 6 sessions of the GRC module, and these sessions will talk about that how we can create the control from the control objective. So in the last session we talked about that entity scoping, and then if you see here, we created one of the scope called entity type called GRC department, and in this GRC department we added the filter, right? And then we also have a control objective here. In this control objective we have created one control objective ourselves. So let's open that. So this is the control objective we have created here, and in this control objective we attach that policy in the change management policy. Under this change management policy we have this control objective, and this control objective doesn't have any control. So now today I'll show you that how we can generate the control automatically. So in the control objective we have a options called create control automatically. So today I'll show you that how we can create the control automatically. Okay. And also, if you one more thing, just noted down that the policy can have multiple control policy, like a dress code. Let's say this is the dress code, and inside that you can define that Monday to Friday you have to wear this dress, Saturday Sunday you can wear this dress. Kind of these are the breakdown of the control objective is nothing but the breakdown of the policy. Okay, and this control objective can have a policy. Okay, so I'll show you that how we can create the policy. So without wasting time, let's get started. So before I started to generating the control, one thing you have to be remember that so far in the right side we have created so many things that is called entity scoping, and in left side we have created the policy and all those stuff. So what we have to do at that certain stage, the policy is in published state, and entity type attached with the entity filter, and it generate the entity. At that moment we have to attach policy to entity type. So what I'll do, this is my policy, the change management GRC demo, and if I open the control objective right now, I don't have any control attached to here at that moment. Okay, to generate control automatically, what we have to do, we have to be attached the entity type here with the policy. So our entity type was the GRC department. I'll attach here and then simply save that. Once we save that, you can see that you are getting one message called item generation has been initiated. The process may take some time to complete. The control associated with the control policy will be activated. If they don't exist, new control will be created if auto create control is selected on the corresponding control objective. Now in this control objective, if I refresh, there should be one control will be created. So you can see the 7 control is getting created. Why? The control equal to control objective into the entities. So in this entity type we have a 7 entities. Basically in this entity type we have a 7 entity. So if I open the GRC entity, we have a 7 entity, and then 7 entity into control objective. In this policy I have one control objective, and that's the reason it's create the control. So now let's go back to our diagram and try to interact with that. So here, whenever we are attaching policy with entity type, it will generate the control, right? So we'll add here. So that's it. Here the policy, and whenever we are attaching the policy with the entity type, it will generate the control. Okay. So that's it for today. The next video we'll talk about further. So till the time, if you like my video, so subscribe my channel and hit on the bell icon. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit and this is the 7th session of the GRC series. In this series, we'll talk about the controls life cycle. So in the last session, we talked about that how the control can be generated directly from the control objective whenever we are connecting the policy and entity type together. And today we'll mainly focus that how the control life cycle will be cascade. So let's start without wasting time. So if you follow my last video, this is the control objective, and in this control objective, it creates the seven control. These seven control are generated. Now let's open one of the control and see what are the life cycle of that, and then how we can discuss these controls detail. So if I open this control, very first thing is the control name, which is nothing but basically the control objective name, and then here the control number. Here we have a entity. Entity is nothing but we talk about here. Entity is, this is the entity type which generate the entity. Okay. So this entity and the control both are the pretty much in the same level. So entity will be there. Next, you see the control objective, which is nothing but the parent staff, which is the control objective. And now you see owning group and owner. So how this owning group and owner is derived, let's understand that. So owning group will be derived from the entity. So let's see here in this control, you have an entity called customer support. So if I open the customer support, and in this if I open the customer support here, you will be able to find out the owner name. So how this owner name is coming. So this owner name, this is the owner name, and then how this owner name is coming. Owner name is coming from the entity filter. Okay, so this entity generated by entity filter, right? So if I open that entity type and then filter, you will be able to find out that. So if you see here in this entity type, if I open this GRC entity type, we have entity filter. So this filter we have created, build your own filter. We have a tab called assignment. In this assignment, if you see here, we set the department head. So whoever will be department head of this department table, they will be have that entity owner. So this is the entity owner. That's how the entity owner is cascade. So this is the department, and this department has this user. So this way this owner cascaded from the department to the entity, and from the entity to control. Okay, so this owner have a one major role. So whenever this is in a draft state right now, whenever it will be moved to the attestation stage, there will be one survey will be sent to this owner, and owner have to be respond, and then based on that it will be generated. Okay, we'll see that. So next is that status, and the state is draft. Exempt is options is available. So if you want to put some exemption, you can put that. Enforce option is there. Category type, classification, those everything is coming from this our entity. Now we have a frequency. So frequency means that you can put that daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi annual or annual. What does it mean by annual? So what that is my frequency. Basically frequency means once you move to this monitor state, on the same day, if you put the annual, it means that after 1 year this control will be automatically moved to the draft state, and it needs to be again revised. Because see, sometime what happens that that after day to day that policy get changes. In that case, we need to be review that policy again and move back to the monitor state. So you can eventually daily monitor that, weekly, monthly, or semi annually. So based on the frequency, every time it will be moved to the draft state, and then you have to go through this complete process, and you need to be moved to the monitor state. In case the policy is retired, you can move to the retired state. So this is the frequency is the important part, and then attestation is the important part. So this attestation will be whenever we'll move to that attest state, it will be generated a survey, and then survey needs to be responded by this user. Okay. and we have a activity journal field where you can put the comments or everything. So let's move that to the attest state. So once I move to the attest state, it will be generate a survey. So once this is moved to the attested state, this attestation section will be read only. What I have to do, I have to take this user and impersonate that user and see any attestation is generated for them. So let's impersonate that user here, and then if I type that attestation here, and you can see this is under the policy and compliance, you have a options called my attestations. Once you open that, it's showing that attestation number 1006, and this is the matrix type of this one, and control objective name also showing. So let's open this one, this attestation, and what we have to do, I have to take that assessment. Okay, based on this assessment, it can be generate a issue or it cannot be. Okay, so let's take a assessment here. In this assessment, you will ask the three question. This basically you need to attach some document and you need to be explain that, because this is coming from this attestation, nothing but it's a survey. We can create our own attestation, we'll do that later, but for the time being, I'll select that is this control is implemented. If I select yes, and then if I attach the evidence, this control will be moved to the review state. Okay, so let's see. So I'll attach one evidence here. So here I'll select a file and attach here. So once I choose the file, it will be automatically attached to this attachment here, and here I will select OK, and you can see you have completed the attestation. So the attestation is completed. Now end the process. I'll end the process, and you can see the status is right now is compliant and it is in the review state. So let's refresh that. The status will be in review state and then it will be compliant. Okay, and once it is compliant, you can move to this state to the monitor. So once we'll move to the monitor, it will be the state will be monitored. In this monitor state, basically we'll monitor that this control is working perfectly or not by indicator template or indicator. We'll check that the properly it is getting monitored or not. Okay, so I'll show you one more things that what will be happens if you put the negative survey. So let's open one more control here. I'll open that and simply do the same thing. In the list layout, you can see the status, and this is in the monitor state. I'll pick this one and then do that negative scenario. Now you can see it is in review state, but the status is non-compliant, and once the status is non-compliant, it will be generate a issue. This issue will be generated and assigned to this particular owner, whoever is the owner. For them, the issue will be generated and they have to be work on that issue and complete that. Okay, so let's say they remediate that everything, whatever is the issue type. You can see that issue source is the control attestation fill. So what we'll do, I'll simply select the response analyze here first. This will go to the issue will be go to the analyze state. Okay, so here issue manager and then issue group needs to be selected. So I'll select the issue group and issue manager. After that, I'll select due date here. Here you have a options called remediate or accept. So once you select remediate and you click here, save, and finally you mark at close complete. So this issue will be closed. And now if I go back to our control here, this control right now is the compliant. So in case if you put the negative response on that attestation, it will generate an issue, and this issue have the separate flow, and once that flow will be completed, it will be completed. The status will be compliant. After you make this compliant, you can move to the monitor state. Once that is monitored, we can create the indicator, and through the indicator we can monitor that actually what is happening in our system. So going back to our flow, let's increase this flow. So what I'll do, I'll quickly do a diagramming here. So understand the diagram, final diagram. So this is the control which is created in the draft state, and this is the entity which was created, and their owner are the same. So owner will be the same. Now from the control, you will move to the attestation state, and from the attestation there will be some response. Either negative response you can provide it, or the positive response you provide it. So if you are providing the positive response, it will be in the compliant. Control will be compliant, and then control will be moved to the control will be in the review state. Okay, actually control will be in monitor state after that. So it will be compliant, and then from there, from the review state, it will move to the review monitor state. Okay, now if you put the negative scenario, it will be generate the issue, you remediate the issue, and then from the review state you move to the compliant to the monitor state. So this way we can work with the control, and from the control we can create the indicator, and then indicator we can follow that the actual policy or the control that we have created, our resources are following or not. For example, if we created the control for dress code, so we'll through the monitor will through the indicator we'll check that they are wearing the proper dress code or not by the indicator. In the next video we'll talk about the indicator. So that's it for today. If you like my video, please like, share, subscribe, and then hit on the bell icon to get this kind of update. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit, and today we'll talk about that indicator. So far in the last classes we have discussed that how the control can be generated, and then how they have relationship with the control objective. I'll quickly go through that part, and then I'll come back to that indicator. So here we have a UCF document. From the UCF we are importing the document authority document, and then from the authority document we are importing the citation, and it can be imported the control objective, and either it can be generated or can be created manually. Now bundle with the control objective, multiple control objective we are bundling and then marking as a policy. So these all control objective will be in a part of one policy. Now in the right side we have entity class, entity filter, entity type. Attaching this entity class and entity type and entity filter, it's generate the entity. Now whenever we are attaching policy with the entity type, it is generating the control in a draft state, and then replicate, whatever the entity control equal to entity into control objective. Now the control is generated from the control objective, and control is nothing but the actual implementation of the control. And control have a attestation where if you put the negative scenario, it will be generate the issue. If you put the positive response, it will be the control will be compliant right now. So control, and then after that control will be monitor state. In the monitor state will actually the monitor that everyone is following the rules and regulation or not. So today we'll talk about the indicator. Using the indicator we'll check that the user or all the other user are following that rules and regulation or not. So very first thing is that we have, if I type the indicator, so we have a two module. One is the indicator template, another is the indicator. So what is the indicator template and what is the indicator? Let's discuss. The indicator template is a template that can be applied to the multiple controls. So you have a control. If you want to apply similar type of indicator template for multiple control, you can use the indicator template. But the indicator is the one component which can be applied only one control. Okay, so indicator template is nothing but that, if you want to apply for multiple in control, and if you want to apply for only one, you need to go for the indicator. So very first thing, going to create an indicator, and in this indicator you will be able to see the category. Category will be either indicator control indicator template or the risk indicator template. So we'll select the control indicator template. We have to select the name. So in this case, we'll first go open that policy first. So this was our policy, and in this policy, we have a control objective. This is our control objective, and this control objective have 7 control, and then this control was compliant. What we'll do here, if I open this, if I see this control objective, what it is saying, the change request cannot be new state more than 30 days. So that's the regulation that we are trying to implement, and based on that it is generated for one control. So this, based on that, it generate one control. For department is the customer support. For the department customer support, this control is generated. Now what we have to do, we have to create either indicator or indicator template into the monitor state to review either in the daily. We can put the frequency either in the daily or in the monthly to check that there should not be any change request which is in the new state more than 30 days. We can put the frequency and we can continuously monitor that. So let's create that change monitor. I'll put the name equal to change monitor. Here the description, you can put anything. I'll put the same thing. Here method means we have a three type of method: manual, basic, script. Some data cannot be automatically collect from the service. Now in that case you can put the manual, and you can put the manual instruction. Once you put the manual instruction, what will be happen, person have to be go through manually. Like let's see that in our organization everyone is wearing the proper t-shirt or not in the weekend. So that for that we have to go and check the manually, right? If the data is in the system, if the data is available, you can select the basic, or you can select the script. By that you can check that. But in case you don't know that how this data will be generated, you can select that indicator type equal to manual. In that case, you need to put the manual instruction here. Once you put the manual instruction, someone has to be manually perform this action. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll simply say let's put first the change equal to manual, and then here we'll say that. So that might be our condition. Here in the supporting document, you can select the collect supporting data. You can do that. Otherwise, there is no much function here. Just submit that. And you can see that in the bottom you have a control objective. So what we'll do here, we'll click edit and select this control. So I'll select this one and save that. Once you save that, your indicator template is attached to your. So one thing you notice that once I add this change request cannot be, see the 7 indicator is attached. We added the control objective and then it have a 7 indicator. Okay, why and how it is attached? Because if I go back to this control objective right now, this control have a one control objective called this is the one, and this control objective have a 7 control. If I go back to this control objective, it have a 7 control, right? So control indicator template is created to apply all the control objective or all the risk statement. So right now we have created, it is attached to the 7 indicator right now. Now if I go back to that, this is right now in monitor state, and if I open the indicator have some details available. Okay, it have a schedule, and the next runtime is this one, so it will be run in the next day. Okay, we can manually execute this indicator, and then once we manually execute that, this method is the manual, right? It will be generate one indicator task, open task. So if I execute now, so an indicator task will be created. So if I refresh that, it will be create one indicated task because we selected that manual type. So once we select the manual type, there will be one indicator task which will be created. This indicator task has to be manually fulfilled by this description. Go and check all the change requests are not in new state. So we can say that here we can say that pass out and fail based on this our understanding. So we can go and check all the user whoever is wearing to that dress is properly wearing dress or not. By that you can check that. Okay, so once you fill this value pass or fail, based on that your actual control, so your actual control status will be reflected. Okay, so this is the control. Inside the control we have indicator, and indicator generate one indicator task. So this is the control which is have a one indicator, and this indicator generate one indicator task. As this indicator is the manually, if it was basic or script, it was run automatically, and it won't generate any task. So let's say we'll select that fail. Once we select the fail and save that, it means that someone manually verify that, and there is a one change is the new state. So once we make that, so we set the fail, and then we'll set the the state equal to closed. Once this task is closed, one result will be created for that. So each and every time there will be one indicator, and this indicator will be based on the result, it will generate one indicator result. Right now we have indicator result. So this is the result which is generated. And based on that, you can see the status is changes to that compliant to the non-compliant, because last status of our this indicator is nothing but fail. So you can see this indicator we have created, and this indicator got fail. Okay, so this indicator got fail because in the indicator task we mark as a fail. Once it is moved to the non-compliant state, again it will be generate one issue like the previous one, and this time it will be say that customer support has an indicator fail. It means that in the manual step we set the fail, and that's the reason it is generated an issue. An issue has to be resolved. So if we select that close complete, there will be couple of mandatory field of value you have to fill. So I'll select that, I'll select the remediate, and then click OK. And once we update that, this is right now again go back to the compliance state. So any failure happens to our by the indicator, it will be generate a issue, and this issue will be assigned to person, and then it will be in the compliance state. Now let's change that to that that indicator to that manual to the basic. We can do one thing in this indicator template. Whenever we created the indicator template, we selected the manual, right? We can override this type by here you have override template option. You select that, and you can change that type equal to basic. Okay, in the basic you have to select the count and what is you are looking for. Let's say what count we are looking for. So we'll say the change request cannot be new state more than 30 days, right? So what we'll do, we will select the one. Okay, and then if the one data is found, it will be failed. In the supporting document, supporting data, what we'll do, we'll query to the change request table, and then supporting field will select number and state and type. Okay, and here in the condition we'll put the state is new and updated on last 30 days ago. Okay, so we are looking for any change which is in state is new and updated last 30 days. If that is the case, if any of this record is found, we'll mark as a fail. So let's do that, save that. So right now our control is in non-compliant. Okay, and this is our indicator which is overridden by the template. In the template it was in manual, we changed the basic. Now if we execute now, it will be generate one indicator result. So you can see that an indicator result will be created and it take some time. So once we refresh that, there will be one indicator result here in the bottom. So you can see this indicator is generated now. Okay, so if you open that, so now you can see it's generate one indicator result. So let's open the first one. This indicator result was generated by this first indicator task, and it was generate one issue, and then that issue we closed, and that's the reason it is in compliant. Next, it is generated one more time. The value is 1. Target value was 1, and we got the 0. That's the reason it's not the fail. And once it is not the fail, our control is still in the compliant state. This indicator is generated one more result, and it is it is compliant. If I execute now, it will be generate one more time one record indicator result, and until unless there is no failure, this control will be in the compliant state. So you can see there will be one more task will be created, and then this is also positive result, and this is again it is in compliant state. It will be only moved to the non-compliant if there will be one issue generated in the bottom, and the issue will be generated only if the indicator result found any failed. Now do one thing, in the basic criteria I'll remove this last 30 days, and now in this case I am expecting some failure. So if I execute now, you can see the result value we are expecting 1, and we got the 22. It means that fail. Okay, so it means that the fail means that it will be in non-compliant state. Again the control will be non-compliant, and there will be one more issue generated. So you can see this issue is generated, and it's saying that customer support has an indicator failure, and it will be generate one more time that now if I open this here, this is the indicator task which is generated. It will be have the supporting data to view that. So correct or not, it is automatic, whatever data is generated, correct or not. So this is the data which is generated, and so that's why it can be generate the issue, and then our main goal is to make the control is compliant. Okay, until unless the control is compliant, then our whole system is the compliant. So understand is the diagram. So understand the diagram. So far this control was created in the monitor state, and then finally this control once it is in monitor state, what will be happen? It will be attached to the indicator or indicator template. If the indicator template is the manually, so based on the frequency, it will be generate the indicator task, and manually someone has to fulfill that indicator task. If it is automatically, if it is set as basic or script, it will be generate automatically the result. Okay, either person go back to the indicator task and generate the result, or somebody if it is basic or script, automatically it will be generate the result. If result is the negative, it will be generate an issue again. Once it is in generate the issue, it needs to be remediated, and then only it will be compliant. Otherwise it will be in non-compliant. Okay, our main motto is that mark the control is compliant. It means that all the rules and regulation is following. So that's it for today. Thank you guys. We'll talk about the next video. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit and this is the ninth session of the GRC. In this session, we'll talk about the policy exceptions. So what is the policy exception and why we need the policy exception? Let's understand that one by one. So if you understand that by policy exception, by reading this word, you can understand this is the relaxation. So we can put any relaxation for the particular user, okay? So without wasting time, let's get understand one by one. If you see the documentation, what it is saying there, user can request exceptions for a policy, control objective or issues by specifying the reason of exception on a particular list of system, application, network or entities of which the exception will apply. The user must also specify the duration of the exception is required. Person requesting the policy exception usually the control owner. So normally the control owner raise the request for the policy exceptions and it can be applied for the policy, control objective or issues. So if you see here in our last demo, this control was we are running the indicator, and based on that it was doing some compliant and non-compliant. And if you see here in this control right now, it's a non-compliant, and because it has some issues. So if I open this issue and quickly close that issue, the control will be become that compliant, right? So in this case, the control is become compliant, and once the indicator will be again run that, and it will be detect there is a one issue, and it will be generate one more issue, and then the control will be detect as a non-compliant. So understand one thing. For the time being, this issue will be resolved, and then again whenever the indicator will be run, it will be detect there is a one issue, and then in that case this the status will be non-compliant. Now we can raise the policy exception for the particular control policy or any issue. So we'll raise the policy exception for this control, and it will be what will be happen if we execute this indicator. What will be happen? Although it will be create a issue, but this status on the will not be changed from the compliant to non-compliant for the particular duration. Okay, so let's recap one more time quickly. So this control is right now compliant, and if I execute this indicator based on this basic user criteria, there is a some change which is a new state, and because of that it will create the status will be create to non-compliant, right? And then it will be generate that issue. But if we create a policy exceptions, the status will be remain the compliant. It will be give some relaxation for the particular time. So let's understand how we are going to do that. Very first thing is that if you type the policy exceptions here, you can see all the exception will be available here. Okay, so you can see all these exceptions are available here. So if you want to create a new exception, click new, and here you need to be provide the name of this exception. So let's say we'll say that control exception here, and in this control exception you need to define that what is the reason to providing the exception or reason for that. So we'll say that awaiting maintenance window, and here we'll select that fix will be done. And in that case we need to be select that source type. Either you can select the control objective or you can select the control policy issue. These are the exception you can define. So our case will select the control, and then once you select the control, you can see some of the fields are gone. Okay, so if you select control objective will be there. Policy, the policy will be there. You can see you have to define the issue here. Otherwise, if you select the control, these all field will be gone. And if you see here, it is asking the select the controls from the impacted control list. We have to select the control from the impacted list. Now if I go back to the schedule, I need to define for which time period the policy exception will be there. So if I select 1, and then here if I select some other date, now in this policy exceptions I will select that impacted control here. So I'll simply click add here, and from here I have to select the control name. Our case, if I go back here, So this is the control. I'll copy this control name and paste here. And you can see the all these control are available. Whatever control is actually applied in not in the draft state. Our case, this is the one we are going to test that. So I'll select and click add. So this control is added. Now we have to move to that next state called analyze state. We'll click request for approval, and it will be go for the analyze state. In this analyze state, their further analyze will be done, like what will be the risk. So we'll select the medium, and here we have to select the approver. We'll select one approver and save that. Once it is done, you can see there will be one button will be available called request review, and in this case, once we click the request review, it will be moved to the review state. From the review, the reviewer will review this one and it will be moved to the request for approval. Once it will be moved to the request for approval, there will be two types of approval will be generated. One is the manager approval. Who is the requester? Their manager approval will be generated, and one will be the control owner approval will be generated. So if I go back to the approver, one, my manager approval will be generated. Another is the control owner approval will be generated. So this is the control owner approval which will be generated. So if you see, this is the control owner called Rob Woodney. That approval will be generated, and manager approval will be generated. Once we approve these two approver, this awaiting approval will be moved to the approved state. So this is right now approved, and you can see the approved policy exceptions. So this is right now approved in this case, and now our this policy exception will be moved to the approved state. Once the policy exceptions will be moved to the approved state, after that period, like this period, this policy will be closed. In this case, right now policy exception is approved for this particular control. Now in this control, you can see here there is a one checkbox called exempt is available. It means that it is exempt right now. Now what will be happen if I run this indicator? Let's execute this indicator. This indicator is run and will be create one record in the bottom, which is right now is created. This indicator will be just now created, and if I see here in the control, there is a one issue which is right now created, which is the 6th issue. And if you see here, the status is remain compliant because this is the exempt condition right now, because we have some policy exception. Under this policy exceptions, you will be able to see that exception is there, and that is called control exception. Because of that, there is a no status changes happen at that moment. So that way we can put some exception for the particular control policy or the issue. So that's it for today. If you have any question, just let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day.